fitting today. Roll to victory at goodfeet.com. That's goodfeet.com. Roll Tide.
Join us this afternoon for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms at UA_CTSN. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Can you get me over? Type shape.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
The lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car. I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. Listening to another station I don't understand. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. They go up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Did somebody respond?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Thom Abraham Show. It is a throwback Thursday here in the Doghouse. And, you know, with this beautiful weather that we have right now and spring training underway, I thought we'd go with baseball music today. You know what I mean? Especially since we are going to get a special update on what's going on with the upgrades out at Toyota Field in Madison, the home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And you know what? We're going to be joined in hour number 2 by the mayor of Madison, Paul Finley, will join us, and we'll get his take on what is going on there. There is a difference of opinion on what kind of upgrade is needed for the ballpark to be in compliance with Major League Baseball's regulations for the minor league facilities, requirements that were put in place either while the park was under construction or shortly after completion of the park. The stadium cost $46 million to build 5 years ago. But the renovation costs can be anywhere from $4 to $30 million. And the question is, who is paying that bill? So there's a lot to get in. It's a lot of this is confusing. It's really not something that, from an aesthetic standpoint, it's not like all of a sudden they determine that the wall is not high enough or the lighting is not good enough or any of those types of things. This is a completely separate type of issue. This is an issue having to do with the clubhouse for the visiting team and what the requirements are literally for the quarters for the umpires and for female staff. And I'm not sure what that means, female staff. I don't think it means the staff of the team's front office or anything like that. I don't know. Are they talking about like female umpires or whatever? I don't know. So there's, plans in place that say that they're going to take the visiting clubhouse and turn that into, umpire and female staff quarters. Now you got to put the visiting clubhouse somewhere. And they're talking about putting this outside the left field fence where there is a maintenance barn right now and converting the maintenance barn into that. Well, the team is like, well, you know what? If we built this 4-story building, we'd have a restaurant and more seating and premium stuff, and it would create revenue for the city and for the team and so on and so forth. So there's a disconnect as to what needs to be done to get this whole thing, into compliance, which the date has passed now. Well, it hasn't passed yet, but it's supposed to be by opening day of 2025, but there'll be an extension for that, for the team to decide what's going to happen. So the city and the team, now we talked to the team, we talked to the GM last 2 weeks ago. Now there's been more developments on this deal. So we need to talk to the mayor. We got to talk to the mayor, Paul Finley, and see what's going on. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. He's coming up later on in the 1 o'clock hour. In the meantime, the state of Alabama completed its complete evisceration of the state of Mississippi in basketball last night, as Auburn destroyed Ole Miss by 40, 106 to 76. Just like when Alabama crushed State on Saturday, the Tigers shot 60% from the field, 52% from downtown. They also made 27 out of 33 from the line. When that happens, they're going to blow you out. They're going to blow you out. I saw some posts about people talking about Auburn running up the score on Ole Miss. I mean, did they run up the score on Ole Miss, or did they just play their game? I mean, they had like 15 guys in double figures. I think they played like 11 guys. I don't know that they actually, went out of their way to run up the score on Ole Miss. Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer is coming up at the bottom of this hour with thoughts on all of that. We welcome those of you watching on WZZN TV, our YouTube channel, and on the X as well. And check that out if you haven't checked it out yet. We welcome the listeners on 97.7 ESPN, the app. Those listening over the air in Winchester, Tennessee, too, on ESPN Winchester. Lines are open, 256-576-4977. We've got quite a bit of room to get you in here. You can also text the show at 73229-TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. Dirty little secret. Thursdays in the sports radio business, Thursdays is typically the least interactive day. Not least listened to day, because we know you're out there. But Thursdays, for whatever reason, has always been the least interactive day with listeners. Friday is always the most interactive day. It's followed by Reaction Monday. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are not bad. But one of the reasons why many, many years ago I invented the Beat the Big Dog feature was to drum up some action on a Thursday. That Thursdays are always slow. So make a liar out of me today. I would love to hear from you. So go ahead and get in on this thing at 256-576-4977. My X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The Zone is on X at 97.7 ESPN. ESPN Winchester is on X at ESPN Winchester. And speaking of apps, get all these apps. You need all of these apps. Put them on your phone. Crystal clear content. All kinds of good stuff from the apps as well, because we got games all over the place. And now we're rolling towards the tournament. We in Huntsville, the Zone will have complete coverage of the SEC tournament, and both Huntsville and Winchester will have the March Madness. I don't know if Winchester has the SEC tournament. If they don't, they should. I know the guy there. Maybe I can talk to him about that. You guys need to get that too. The SEC tournament. I saw something like they did like 200 games in the first 195 days since they turned into ESPN radio, something like that. But they're doing like everything, soccer, a lot of school kid thing, and I get that, but you ought to have the SEC tournament. If they don't, we'll lean on somebody there. Don't forget about your big Zone deals. All right, got a drop coming later on today. Find that link at 977ESPN.com. Got great deals for you today and tomorrow, so check that out. We will have Bad Daddies, and we're going to be dropping a little special deal as well. So keep an eye on that. Going back to college hoops for a moment, how about UNA winning a share of the A-Sun title in just their 7th year at the D1 level? Now they're going to be the 2 seed in the A-Sun tournament since Lipscomb, coached by Lenny Acuff, in a game that you heard last night. They won the other share of the A-Sun title, but Lipscomb gets the 1 seed since they have the tiebreaker over UNA. So that tournament, that A-Sun tournament, most people think, Lipscomb is the favorite in that, and of course that carries a seat in the big dance. On the one hand, we want to see Lenny Acuff in the big tournament. On the other hand, how cool would it be to see UNA in the big tournament? I mean, that would be spectacular as well. So that's pretty cool. And Rick Pitino, check this out. Rick Pitino is the first head coach in Division I history to win a regular season conference title with 5 different schools. He won at he won at Boston University, won the SEC with Kentucky, won the ACC with Louisville. No, maybe it was Conference USA then. I don't know what. No, I think it was the ACC. He won the conference title at Iowa, and now he's won a conference title at St. John's. Rick Pitino just keeps reinventing himself. So good job by him. All right, so now we have some actual numbers to look at with this revenue sharing program that the college kids will have to distribute, or that the colleges will be distributing to the college kids beginning next year. So the number is $20.5 million from the schools. That's $20.5 million in revenue sharing that the schools can pay out directly to their athletes. And they pull that out of their gross revenue, whether it's TV money, selling uniform, whatever. Wherever it comes from, the schools will now pay the players directly. This in no way, shape, or form impacts NIL, other than the fact that the NIL deals now have to go to a clearinghouse. But it doesn't mean just because the school is kicking in 20 mil doesn't mean that NIL, that could be another 20 mil coming from some NIL collective as well. Now, the question has been in the past, how is this going to be distributed? Because we're sitting there and we're thinking about, well, they can pay 20, but it's got to be across all sports. Now, how do you whack that up? Does it have to be equal like Title IX? You got to have as many opportunities for female athletes as you do male athletes, whether it's non-producing, revenue-producing sports or not, and so on. Well, apparently the answer is no. Georgia has now revealed how they're going to break up the $20.5 million that they will pay. And now all of this is pending approval with the House settlement once this thing gets settled, and this will be approved. But it looks like Georgia, and you got to figure that the other SEC schools are expected to follow suit. Football is going to get 75% of that money, of the $20.5 million, or $13.5 million. So $13.5 million will go to football. Men's basketball gets $15 million, or check that, 15%, or $2.7 million. Women's basketball gets 5%. That's $900,000. And all of the rest of the sports, gymnastics, baseball, softball, lacrosse, whatever you got, all the rest of the sports get the other 5%. So that other 900 gur is got to get spread everywhere. So some kid on the baseball team that, that plays once a week for 3 innings is going to get like $3,500. I don't know. Now, each school, by the way, keep in mind, of course, that football has 100 players, but still 100 players, that's an average of $135,000 a player. It's not going to be $135,000 a player because they're going to pay $3 million for the quarterback. But it's an average of $135 million a player. Basketball has like 20 people on their roster. But each school determines its own breakdown. So, I don't know, maybe Kentucky, which is a basketball school, do they pay more for hoops? Do they say, we're going to give our basketball team 20% and we're going to give our football team 70%? I don't know. Does LSU spend more on football? Do they say, look, or does LSU say, hey, our baseball program is outstanding, we're going to pay 7% to the baseball team? I don't know. We're going to find out. And the issue of state income tax on this money has reared its ugly head as well. We saw this story with Louisiana. They're trying to put through a bill saying that the money that the kids get paid by the school will be not taxed. No, will not be subject to state tax. Because while Alabama and Louisiana and Georgia, for example, and others have state income taxes, Tennessee, Florida, Texas, they don't have a state income tax. So they don't want the kid to say, hey, I'll go to Texas instead of Alabama because they don't have a state income tax. And I'm going to be in the, whatever that income tax bracket is, and you're going to pay me $1 million, and I got to pay I'm going to pay $150,000 in state taxes. So these other places are now, these other states that have state income taxes trying to figure it out a way so that they can be competitive. I say, well, we won't charge state income tax. Well, how is that fair to the guy working out at the Redstone Arsenal? How is that fair for the guy? Look, one of the reasons I stayed in the state of Tennessee and got as close to the border of Alabama as possible, I lived 10 miles from the border. One of the reasons I kept my headquarters, the Big Dog Production headquarters, in Tennessee is because there's no state income tax here. And half of my income comes from outside of the state of Alabama. Now, I thought that everything would be untaxed, but that's not the case. So because this radio show is originating in the state of Alabama, I pay, and I'm paid by a company that is the state of Alabama, that in the state of Alabama, I pay state income taxes in Alabama. So how is it fair for me? Oh, the kid doesn't have to pay taxes, state taxes, but Joe Hunk does? You know, just saying. It's a thing. And it's a thing. And I pay it, I pay a fair share of Alabama state tax. And I get, the thing is, I pay Alabama state income taxes and I get zero benefit from that other than opportunity to talk to you fine people. The state of Alabama's not doing anything for me. I don't live in Alabama. But it's like in the NFL, in other professional sports. When the Tennessee Titans, all right, are playing at home, those players don't pay state income tax. When the Tennessee Titans play the Atlanta Falcons, they have to pay state income tax in Georgia. And when they go play the New York Jets, oh my gosh, that week's check, they pay state income taxes in the state of New York. One of the reasons why the AFC South is so attractive to free agents is the fact that Tennessee with the Titans, Florida with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Texas with the Houston Texans, those three states have no state income tax. So you're playing in a division that has three states that doesn't have state income tax. Now you go play the Colts, you got to pay your state income tax. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing when guys decide to go to Florida. Freddie Freeman, the deal Freddie Freeman had on the table to stay with the Atlanta Braves was more lucrative net than the deal he got from the LA Dodgers. Because the LA Dodgers, because it's California, oh my gosh, the taxes out there, cost of living and the taxes are ridiculous. Only if his agent had told him about the offer from Atlanta. I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of that story. So anyway, that's all out there. Now, the NIL money does have to go through a clearinghouse, as I said, for approval. But the interesting thing is, how much money can you squeeze out of your supporters? Because the schools are looking to raise that money, that $20.5 million that they're going to pay the athletes out of their revenue. They don't want to dig too deep into their own revenue. They're like, wait a minute, you're getting all this TV money now with the new contract, and you get the hat money and the memorabilia and the ticket money and everything else. Yet they're going out to their boosters and saying, hey, we need to raise money so we can pay the kids $20 million. So the booster's like, okay, am I giving it to the NIL or am I giving it to the school? How much money is there to go around? And when they do it for the NIL, how much benefit do they really get? Are they getting the benefit for what they're giving? Come on. That kid that went, Bryce Underwood, the kid that went to Michigan, that decommitted from LSU and committed to Michigan, is in school now at Michigan, $13 million. What's he doing for $13 million? He's playing quarterback at Michigan. That's what he's doing. And that doesn't have anything to do with the $20 million. Now, maybe he doesn't, maybe they don't have to pay him anything out of that 20, say they do the same thing and 75% goes to the football team. Does somebody go to Bryce Underwood and say, look, Bryce, we're not going to give you another $1 million. We'll give you $13 million out of the NIL. We're going to use that money for your offensive line or whatever. That's why these teams are having general managers now of these programs, because they got to manage all of this money situation. But really, what's Bryce Underwood going to do for $13 million? Go to the car wash and sign autographs for an hour and a half? What's he going to do? All right, back there in mission control. Playing the play doesn't matter. The stacks of wax, answering the phones, keeping us on the air. Jumping Joe Hunk.
Do you know who I am?
No, who is this?
Who is this guy?
Who in the blue hell are you? I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I'm very important.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I don't like violence, Thom. I'm a businessman.
You want to boo me? Fine.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
You come at the Kings, you better not miss.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
Let me show for y'all. Got a damn good show.
I will not wear that naughty one.
Hey, Thom.
Hey, Joe, how you doing today?
I am doing absolutely fantastic.
Well, I'm glad that you are doing fantastic. Sad news out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, earlier today when we found out that Coach Norman Dale, who became Coach Jimmy McGinty, passed away. Gene Hackman dying, and one of the all-time great actors. I mean, this is an all-time great tough guy actor. He was outstanding. There was no doubt about it. And the thing that I find very interesting, and I'll talk about him. I want to talk about Hoosiers. 1986. Can you believe Hoosiers is 40 years old? 1986 for Hoosiers. I mean, when you saw Hoosiers, it was from the 50s. Now it's a 40-year-old movie about something that was 30 years old then.
Heck, watching that or just thinking about that movie just made me cold. Just him standing in like that schoolhouse that was extremely tiny, and he's looking outside the window and watching him shoot basketball, and you could just tell that it's 25 degrees outside.
Yeah. Brutal. But the thing is, I haven't looked at the story in the last couple of hours.
Yeah.
But he's 95, right? So his 63-year-old wife and his dog were all found dead in the house. And it says no foul play is suspected. So let me move over here so I can I want to be on the show with you.
What's up?
Yeah. Beautiful big spring park in the background.
Yeah, I mean, you were showcasing that. Yeah, you were showcasing that pond. I'm sure there's a gigantic fish right now waiting for some bread.
All I need to do is go fishing in there. I think all they got is carp in there. I don't know.
They have some big fish.
So the only thing I can think of, Joe, I mean, the only way you, your wife, and your dog are all dead is like carbon monoxide poisoning. I mean, if there's no foul play, are they saying anything yet about carbon monoxide poisoning or anything like that?
So the last article that I see is about 9 hours old, and it said that Hackman was found in the mudroom. His wife was found in the bathroom next to a space heater, and that there was an open prescription bottle and pills scattered on the countertop near her. Now, it doesn't say anything about foul play or anything, because what you were saying a second ago is what a lot of people have been thinking about, especially since the dog was found in the kennel during the investigation. So it was like, how did this happen to all three of them? And they're all in different spots in the house.
Did they say how long they maybe have been dead? I mean, because the dog would be dead maybe if the dog, how long would a dog live? You know, if the dog wasn't drugged or anything. I mean, because I'm starting to see a scenario where maybe Hackman dies because he's 95, and maybe she ingested, maybe she commits suicide because the old man died, and then the dog, you know what I mean? Dogs will live several days,
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was the phrasing on here says that they had been dead for some time. That's the only verbiage that they are saying, is that they have been, when they found them, it had been some time since they were gone.
It's probably not going to be foul play. It'll be maybe a scenario that we said. Maybe the dog dies because the dog's in the kennel. Maybe she committed suicide and then he just died, because he's in 95. Man, I'll tell you, he gave us some great moments. From Hoosiers, we all remember the locker room scene.
It's a condition in tournament play. Not talk about the next step until you've climbed the one in front of you. I'm sure going to the state finals is beyond your wildest dreams, so let's just keep it right there.
Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
Very inspirational. Now, you were 1 year old when the movie came out.
Oh yeah.
So you didn't see it originally. I was in my mid-20s. But obviously you've seen it now, right?
Oh,
I mean,
no. It was, I want to honestly say, if I close my eyes and think about it, I really want to say when I started getting into school ball, like in 7th grade, I want to say that our basketball coach actually had us watch this movie. I really, and I could be giving Coach Taylor way too much credit, but I really want to say that I think that he had us watch that movie just to kind of like get us in that mindset type thing before the season actually started. No, I've seen a ton of his movies. I mean, Behind Enemy Lines is one that's not sports oriented. Obviously, he was Lex Luthor in all the Superman movies. And then obviously it's weird because I normally hate movies with quote unquote fake teams in it, but The Replacements is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a way underrated movie.
Love it.
He as the coach, of course, Keanu Reeves as the quarterback felt like he was miscast a little bit. Like that didn't seem overly believable. But him as Coach Jimmy McGinty,
I need that ball. Get me the ball. You need the ball. Get me the ball. Get me the ball. Are you gonna get me the ball? I hope he doesn't kill somebody.
John, and that was John Farnu.
And a lot of people know him because he's happy from the Iron Man and from the Marvel series now. So that's how a lot of people know him. Yep, he is.
Well, he was also Rudy's best friend in Rudy.
Yeah,
I mean that's what a lot of people.
So as his best friend, did he tell him that he was offsides? Look, man, I know they're celebrating you, but I'll let you know you were offsides.
I'm surprised he was in the stands when that play happened, and I was surprised that he did not tell him. By the way, Rudy, great play, but you were offsides. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't say that.
No, he has went on after that movie, and he has become an amazing director. And it was him that was part of all the Iron Man Marvel movies. He's happy. He's won like a ton of awards because of all that stuff. No, he's had amazing career since he had to get him the ball.
My first recollection of Gene Hackman. Now, I didn't get to watch this movie when I was a little kid because it was like R-rated, I think. But French Connection. I mean, that's where it all starts with Gene Hackman's French Connection, like 72-ish, 73. Wow. It's like 10, 11 years old. But if you haven't seen the French Connection, and it's a true story. Basically, it's based on a true story in New York City. The French Connection is a outstanding movie. And that's where Gene Hackman first, I think he won an Oscar for that. I think he won an Oscar there. That's what all started with him. All right, we'll get a break. We'll get your thoughts on that. If you want to jump on board, you can do that a little bit later on. But we're going to talk to Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Observer next. It's the Thom Abraham Show on a Throwback Thursday baseball music today. And we'll have that for you throughout the show. Back in a moment.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tuscaloosa, we live by the blue-collar basketball motto.
Stepping back, deep three.
Hard work.
2-on-1, driving, stepping through, top shot, got it to go.
Teamwork.
Playing the song for the champions of the Southeastern Conference.
Join us for every game right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
I defer to you, Joe, but I'm trying to figure out where the baseball hook is to this little bump.
All right, so what this is, and you said baseball music today. So what I did is I went with victory songs. The music that every team plays whenever they win a game.
So who plays this?
What's the name of the song?
Rocky Mountain. The Colorado Rockies actually play this?
Well, they don't play it often,
No?
but yes, they play this whenever they actually do win a game. So every single one of the songs today is going to be the song that you hear at a stadium when the home team wins. Yep.
All right. So there you go. I didn't know that they all even had that. I only know of one team that does that, and that's the one that plays the little Sinatra at the end, but that's a whole other story.
By the way, there are 2 teams that play Sinatra, by the way.
I don't know if you heard, too. They are not going to – they used to always play the Yankees, New York, at the end of a game in New York. They're not going to play that when they lose anymore. They're not going to play Sinatra's New York. They're going to play Sinatra's That's Life when they lose a game. And they're going to play Sinatra's New York when they win a game. So hopefully they'll play 3 times as much New York than That's Life.
Why were they playing it when they lose?
Well, that was just always right at the end of the game, final pitch. They always play New York, and they've done that for a long time. I mean, as long as I can remember. But they're like, you know what? We're not going to play New York when we lose.
I know you love this team, but they're really backwards with a lot of things. You know this, right?
Well, tradition beyond tradition. Yeah, it's bad. It's something. They wore pinstripe hats yesterday, though, which looked really stupid. I'll say that. I mean, they're spring training hats. They wore the spring training hats.
Yeah, it just makes sense to not play your victory song whenever you don't win.
That's what I would think.
I mean, it just makes sense.
I can't wait to hear the Braves because I don't know what the Braves play.
You're not hitting the Braves because I found the Braves one and it is stupid. So I'm not. No. No.
Okay. All right.
No, you actually. I mean, we only have 4 or 5 songs that we have the option to be able to play because of the break. So this is something that would have to take over the course of a few weeks to try to be able to finish all the teams off.
Yeah, but I figured the Braves being that,
No, it's awful. It is absolutely awful. Actually, I want to find video to actually hear it in the stadium to make sure that is really the song that they play because it's so dumb.
Justin Ferguson covers everything Auburn for the Auburn Observer, and he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Ferg, welcome in. How are you?
No, I'm doing well. How are you, Tom?
I'm fantastic. So you wrote an article, 3 days ago, maybe. And its question was, why is Auburn struggling to shoot from deep at home? Yeah, no, not so much anymore, are they? I mean, after last night, I mean, you got to be kidding me. I mean, they were what, 52% from three last night, 59%, 60% from the field. I mean, oh my gosh, rip that story from the headlines.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and one of the takeaways from that story when I wrote it was, hey, matchups matter. And, you know, if a team is a little bigger and pretty good at defending on the perimeter, you know, some of these teams Auburn's played at home have you know, kind of fit that mold. Ole Miss does not fit that mold. They are a very small team, and Auburn shredded them in Oxford from deep, and they did it again last night. They hit 6 of their first 7 3-pointers. It was like they had waited for a month of good shooting to kind of come together at once, and did an excellent job. Set the tone, built a big lead, held on to it for the most part, raced away with it in the second half. Most efficient game of offense for Auburn in at least the last 28, 29 years when we go back to offensive efficiency stats. So incredible game. And to beat a team that's probably going to be a 6 or a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament, you know, by 30 at home says a lot about what this team's peak is.
Yeah, by 30 at home, there's no doubt about it. And I think, what did they score? I was reading your article. They scored something like 200 points against Ole Miss. And people, you know, who only watch Auburn and have seen Ole Miss twice don't realize Ole Miss is a great defensive team. I mean, in the numbers, Ole Miss is an excellent defensive team, and Auburn dropped about 200 on them in 2 games.
I mean, you go back. I mean, they beat Alabama in Coleman, and I think Alabama scored 62 in that game. I mean, just, you know, they have a great defensive gear. They're short. But they try to make up for it by being really aggressive on defense and trying to force turnovers. Hey, how about this stat? This is the first time all year Ole Miss finished a game with more turnovers than their opponent. Auburn took care of the ball, forced some turnovers from Ole Miss, and that just really made it lopsided. And I mean, it's just, if you're in a matchup like this is a good Ole Miss defense. But if you can take care of the ball, which Auburn does, and you have a great front court, which Auburn does, it's just a matchup nightmare for Ole Miss. And now in 2 games, they have proven that this is just the type of game that they don't want to play.
It's amazing how close these numbers are to what Alabama did to Mississippi State on Saturday.
Yep.
So, you know, the state of Alabama, is Troy playing, you know, Southern Miss or anything anytime soon? Because I don't think that Southern Miss would want any part of that. I mean, goodness gracious, what an evisceration for the state of Alabama and the SEC against the state of Mississippi. They don't want any part of us anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and it's an incredible season for basketball in the state of Alabama. North Alabama, you know, just clinched their regular season title. Auburn played them earlier this year. That's a really good UNA team. I love watching them play. You know, obviously, like Troy and South Alabama have been in the hunt in the Sun Belt this year. South Alabama's in a really good position. UAB's had a really good year in the AAC. You know, Jacksonville State is probably going to be an NCAA tournament team as well. So, you know, just to see this entire state, you know, leading with Auburn and Alabama, but continuing everywhere else, to just really, really play great basketball is fun to see. And, you know, down the stretch, they've, you know, some of these teams from Alabama have just been putting a hurting on some teams in their conference.
How about Cheney Johnson's old team? UAH is number 3 in the country in D2. They've won 26 straight games after dropping the opener to Nova, which is number 2 in the country. The Chargers have ripped off 26 straight games there. So even at the D2 league level, they're dominating. It's amazing.
I mean, I love it. I love seeing that. And, you know, speaking of Cheney Johnson, he had a great game last night. Stayed out of foul trouble, and he went on a 7-1 run by himself in that game. Ole Miss really. They didn't have an answer for Janai Broome, which, I mean, few teams do, but, you know, even more so, they did not have an answer for when Cheney Johnson got rolling. Great game from him, and just, he continues to be super, super impressive. I mean, you go back and watch, there's a dunk he has in the first half where I think his chest at the rim. He's just a monster. And, you know, that's kind of the story of this Auburn team. A lot of these dudes were late bloomers, guys that were kind of diamonds in the rough that have developed really well, and they're playing on the best team in the country. And, you know, I think Cheney's just like the quintessential example. And I know a lot of people up in, you know, you guys' neck of the woods are really, really proud of him and what he's been able to do for Auburn these last couple of seasons.
So you got like a sixth man of the year. He's got to be the sixth man of the year in college basketball. I mean, goodness gracious. But by the way, I saw a note. Is there a chance that I don't know? I guess Bruce Pearl was asked this question. Is there a chance that Cheney can get another year of eligibility? That he could be back next year?
Yeah, there is. Division II, much like the Diego Pavia ruling with JUCO, D2 guys are supposed to be getting cleared as well. So, yeah, there is a chance. There's a chance that this Auburn basketball team, as good as they've been this season and, what they could bring in next year, there's a chance that Denver Jones, Chad Baker-Mazara, and Chaney Johnson all come back from this team. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and John I. Broome, you have to be thinking about him as a candidate anyway for Player of the Year in college basketball. Cooper Flagg, everybody's kind of looking at that freshman. That's a one and done kid. But what's also amazing about this Auburn team is the straight depth of this team. I don't know, where John A. Broome gets drafted. I don't know that he's a lottery guy and he's the best player on the team. But that's what I'm saying. So you look at the rest of this team. I mean, this team is amazing with some, with experienced guys and guys that, there isn't one guy that's just the horse for this team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's their depth and their balance for sure. And I mean, their best NBA draft prospect might be a kid they're bringing off the bench into Todd Pettiford. That's kind of the MO of this team. There's so much experience and this team just kind of locks in. They do a really good job of taking every opponent seriously. You think about it, this is the toughest SEC we've ever seen. It's one of the highest rated college basketball conferences by strength of schedule ever. Auburn's 14-1 with 3 games to play, and they're at a position now where with 3 games left, they just need to win 1 or have Alabama lose 1 of their last 3 to claim at least a share of the championship. If 2 of those results happen, they win an outright championship again in the toughest year of SEC basketball we've ever seen from top to bottom. So it's just phenomenal. This is a team that has just gone above and beyond. And I think a lot of it comes back to this is just a mature veteran basketball team that may not be filled with NBA draft picks, but they're filled with some really good college basketball players.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And they get Kentucky at Kentucky, on Saturday. And look, I know Kentucky's not necessarily what they are when they're at the top of the poll, but they're not a bad team. I mean, Kentucky's tough in Rupp Arena. That's always good if you can go in there and you can get them. So that's going to be a big game for them. And I don't know about Alabama getting anywhere, to that last game of the season, without getting tagged. I mean, Alabama's got Tennessee this week at Tennessee on Saturday, and then they get Florida, who's licking their wounds after getting beat by Georgia. They'll get Florida next Wednesday. So, they got, and then they can play number 1 Auburn. So they got a brutal stretch to finish the regular season.
They do. And, Alabama, I think, is a lot of like those teams like Florida, losing earlier this week. It just shows kind of what Auburn's been able to do is they've just been able to plug away. I mean, awesome basketball teams, championship caliber basketball teams, Final Four level basketball teams can lose some games that, you don't expect them to lose. Alabama's had that a couple times this year. Florida's had that a couple times. And so for Auburn, I think they've done a really, really good job of taking care of business. And yeah, I mean, this is a crazy spot to be in, right? Saturday, you go to Rupp Arena. If you win, you're going to hang a banner at the end of the season, guaranteed. The crazy thing about that is Auburn's only won at Rupp Arena twice ever. And if there was a year though to break the streak, it's this team, the way they're playing. And honestly, Kentucky in year 1 of a reloading kind of reconfiguring situation under Mark Pope. I mean, the narrative is through the roof in this game on Saturday. And this is going to be, for the first time, maybe ever, you're going to look at an Auburn team going into Rupp Arena on Saturday. It might be favored to win that game.
And Kentucky comes off a 1-point win at Oklahoma last night. And, we had Jerry Palmer earlier in the week, and he's got Oklahoma in the tournament now 4-11, and he's got them in the tournament. Georgia may have played themselves into the tournament. Georgia's now 5-10 on the season. Only 1 loss outside of the SEC, and Georgia may be playing themselves into the tournament. The SEC tournament is going to be spectacular in as much as there's going to be all 16 teams are playing, and 12 to 14 of them maybe tournament. It's like it's the baseball tournament. You know what I mean? Where everybody from the baseball tournament gets in the big tournament. That's what the basketball tournament's going to look like in Nashville.
It's so crazy to think about it that, Wednesday in the SEC tournament, the first day of the SEC tournament, half the teams playing may make the NCAA tournament, maybe even more. And they're having to play on day 1. Used to be if you played on day 1 in the SEC tournament, you're terrible. And this is just kind of burn it off kind of time. We'll see that race for like the so you get the top 8 teams get a bye, the top 4 teams get a double bye. That 9 or 10 seed in the SEC tournament may be like a Kentucky or a Mississippi State or an Ole Miss who've been top 15, top 20 pretty much all year. It's crazy to think about what this league is.
No, it is. It is absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, you'll see, if Auburn takes care of business and they're still, if they end up 17-1, in the SEC, you just double by. Obviously, you wonder how much effort they put into that weekend. I keep going back to that. I mean, look, it's pretty cool when you win the tournament and a regular season title and a tournament title. I think when Alabama did that, they were the number 1 seed overall in the big tournament and didn't make it to the Sweet 16. So there is that's out there. Not that necessarily has to be one and then the other, but you got to wonder just how much energy they're going to want to expend on that weekend, assuming that they're going to go into that thing as a number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. This is a team of guys that have played through injuries this year and have had to kind of battle through it. I'd be very interested to see what they did in Nashville because, here's the other thing: the SEC tournament, these conference tournaments really don't do much for your seeding. I think Auburn's resume to this point is probably going to lock them in at number 1 overall as long as they don't kind of fall apart at the end of the year. So, I mean, how much effort do you give in Nashville? And you want to play everybody and all that, but do you want to play Jani Brew more than 25 minutes in a game? Chad Baker-Mazara. I mean, these guys who have been kind of battling through some issues this year. It's a really good spot to be in for sure. To think that Auburn in this, best season ever for the SEC, there's a scenario on Saturday where they could have an outright title heading into the last week and already have it locked up. And just know that you could be playing with house money for the last couple of weeks before you head into the NCAA tournament. I mean, that would just be phenomenal. You got to go out there and do it, and it's going to be tough. But I mean, the way Auburn is positioned right now, they gotta win one and maybe just a second or get some help from somewhere else to be sure that they're the only team that says they won the SEC in 2025.
No doubt about it. Justin Ferguson is our guest. All right, before I let you go, I got to ask my obligatory football question because, it's in the contract. Got to have a football question in every interview. So let me ask you this, and not really a football question, really more an overall question. I saw the note where Georgia has determined how they're going to break up the $20.5 million that they will pay, athletes out of the revenue sharing thing. 75% to football, 15% to basketball. 5% to women's basketball, 5% to everybody else, so you get a $20 bill, you're sitting at the end of the table on the volleyball team, you get $20. But in any event, has Auburn made that public yet? Have they talked about yet, what their plans are for the distribution of the money that the school is able to distribute to the players?
They haven't made it public yet, but that 75-15 kind of breakdown you just explained right there, I think that's going to be very similar to what you're going to see across the SEC. That's kind of the numbers we've heard from a lot of places. And not to say that basketball basketball is obviously very important. We just did a whole interview about it, and obviously the other sports the SEC cares about a ton as well. But I think if you're in a scenario, if you're a team like Auburn and you want to compete for championships in football, if your big rivals giving out 75% of their money to football, you're going to want to be at least 75%. So I think that's going to be kind of around the ballpark. There have been no specifics yet, but I do think that's probably how it's going to break out. And honestly, I mean, that's the thing. It's like when we talk about NIL and we talk about, paying, kids their values, the underlying factor is that football is the heavy moneymaker. And so it makes sense that if football is the heavy moneymaker and these schools are paying these players directly, football should be the one that gets the biggest piece of the pie.
Well,
doesn't mean that those other sports aren't important. Doesn't mean those other sports don't need to be competitive. That's just the economics of college athletics.
Yeah, they also have 100 guys versus 20.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a big part of that whole deal, no doubt about it. And you wonder whether or not like a Kentucky or somebody else that maybe they're LSU to the football side, Kentucky maybe to the basketball side, would their numbers look slightly skewed different? They might go 18% Kentucky, for the basketball as opposed to 15 or whatever. because each school can do what they want. I'm really following this tax issue too. The state income tax issue is interesting because you don't want to see a kid, that has a chance to go to Auburn and he decides to go to Texas or Florida because there's no state income tax and it means an extra $100,000 to him when he's making $1 million. And that's a big thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reminded of pro teams and how much that plays into free agency. The taxes. I know NBA free agency, NFL free agency, baseball free agency as well. I mean, that's part that kind of funnels into it. And honestly, it's just kind of just a further proof that this is going more and more professionalized.
No doubt. Always a pleasure. Justin Ferguson has been our guest. Everything you want to know about Auburn is at the Auburn Observer. Just go to auburnobserver.com. Very affordable. And it's got everything, your basketball, your football, all the information that you want. They do a tremendous job there. Plus, they got podcasts, too, as well. All right, Ferg, I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you. We get a break in here. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1, set you up for hour number 2. We will have open lines at the top of the hour as well. Back with more right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa signature card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
Grapefruit League Baseball today. Atlanta Braves laying $1.20 against the Nationals plus 100. NASCAR Cup Series, the Echo Park, Texas Grand Prix of the Circuit of the Americas in Austin. Shane Van Gisbergen, the 5-1 favorite. Connor Zillage 6-1. Tyler Reddick 7-1. William Byron plus 750. College basketball last night. Auburn 106-76 over Ole Miss, covering as 12.5-point favorites. Today, Liberty, a 6.5-point favorite over the Gamecocks of Jacksonville State, 133.5 the total. And UAB is a 1.5 underdog at the Wichita State Shockers. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Howdy, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. Whether you're planning a tailgate party at the game, cheering for your favorite teams at home, or at your local Baumhauers with your family and friends, we're here to make your football party legendary with our party-ready tray selections. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to the homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course, our fresh, never frozen, award-winning buffalo-style chicken wings. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
No idea. Whose victory song is this?
What state is Prince from?
I don't know.
He is from Minnesota.
Oh, it's okay. All right.
This
That
is what
makes
the
sense.
Twins play. This
They
is
play
what the
this
Twins
every
play.
game?
Every single win.
Oh gosh, I wouldn't want to win too many games. I'd be like getting out of there before the end of the game just so I didn't have to hear that. I'm not a Prince guy. Although I did like Purple Rain, and I did like there's something that he did. It was at the Hall of Fame induction. It was maybe George. I don't know what it was. He did something that was just amazing, but it was all just guitar work. I don't like his singing. By the way, great friend of mine, Scott Marshall, who is a cancer survivor, texted me and said, "You better play the Braves song." Hey, it's a cancer survivor, okay? Joe, you may have to rethink that. All right.
You got 10 seconds, that's all I'm saying.
Top of the hour. Thom Abraham Show. Back with more in a moment.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at JetSuperstore.com.
It all comes back to money.
Visit our store right now at zonedeals.bigdealsmedia.net to take advantage of all the best deals in the Tennessee Valley. Or just go to our website, 977ESPN.com, and click on the Zone Deals logo to start saving right now.
Now, as to the price.
These deals won't last long, so get yours now. Zone Deals. You'll thank us later.
A man who could easily afford to buy a vowel.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. No surgery for former Penn State standout pass rusher Abdul Carter. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, told ESPN's Adam Schefter that following further scans on his right foot, doctors advised Carter to not have surgery. The potential top overall pick in April's NFL draft will work out at Penn State's Pro Day in a month. Rosenhaus said he considers the stress reaction in the foot to be a non-factor in Carter's draft stock. He's ranked either number 1 or 2 in the latest rankings of ESPN NFL draft analysts Mel Kiper Jr., Matt Miller, and Jordan Reed. At the NFL Combine this week, the Browns and star defensive end Myles Garrett's reps are set to meet. Garrett has requested a trade. GM Andrew Berry has repeatedly said the team's not interested in trading Garrett. Hottest team in the NHL, the Jets seek to run their winning streak to 11 when they take on the Predators tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN+.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio and have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
We are your home for March Madness.
In the corner, James, right corner three. Oh, it's a Tennessee blitz. The Volunteers dominating the Creighton Blue Jays in the second half.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you. So settle in and get your bark on. Here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elmer Ferguson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show is brought to you by the award-winning service department at Woody Anderson Ford. They're there for your routine checkups, and they're there to keep your Ford or your other brand in perfect working order. And if you got a bigger problem, the expert service technicians are going to quickly diagnose it. They're going to use state-of-the-art tools to resolve it. And not only do they do preventative maintenance things like belts and hoses and fluids, but they also do major work like air conditioner work, brake work, tranny work, got a great body shop as well. And if you can only get in on a weekend or at night, there's the Quick Lane Service Department. I used the Quick Lane Service Department on Tuesday morning. I slid in there, got in and out. They took care of the oil change and service of my rig, so they can do the same for you. No matter the service your Ford needs, Woody Anderson ensures quick, professional, and exceptional service. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com. It's WoodyAndersonFord.com to learn more. All right, got a few minutes here before we talk to the mayor. Paul Finley will be joining us, the mayor of Madison. Talk to him about the situation that is brewing with the baseball park out there with Toyota Field and see if we can't get that straightened away. We were talking earlier in the show about the passing of Gene Hackman. And Joe, the list of movies is just absolutely amazing. We talked about the sports movies. We played a couple of clips from The Replacements and from Hoosiers with him. But he may have peaked in his career in 1995. I know in the late 70s, it was Lex Luthor in Soup 1 and Soup 2. You know, he played that role. But in 1995, he was in The Quick and the Dead, Crimson Tide, where he played Captain Frank Ramsey, not a sports movie, but, you know, Crimson Tide, and Get Shorty. Did a very underrated movie, Get Shorty. Did you ever see that movie?
I did see it, but it was one in which when I was 1995, it was kind of over my head. Yeah. But I do remember watching it but it was something that just didn't click with me because of the time. If I watched it now, I'd probably appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it. Listen to this cast in Get Shorty. All right, you got Gene Hackman, obviously. You got John Travolta, Rene Russo, James Gandolfini. Tony Soprano.
Before he was Tony Soprano.
Before he was Tony Soprano. Dennis Farina, who is a great actor as well. I don't know if you know who Dennis Farina is, but he was in Crime Story or something like that. He was a tremendous actor. Danny DeVito is in the movie as well. I mean, what a cast in that movie. And I want to go back and watch. It's called a gangster comedy, which is kind of a oxymoron.
Yeah. What's really bad is I remember Dennis Farina because of the movie Little Big League, because he was the he was the Minnesota Twins manager before he got fired.
Yeah,
yep.
Exactly.
That's how I remember him.
I was correct when I said in French Connection was when he won the Academy Award as Jimmy Popeye Doyle. French Connection 2 pops in 1975, not so good as a lot of those are. Let's see where else. He had another Academy Award nomination for Mississippi Burning, where he played Rupert Anderson, and he won the Academy Award for Sheriff Little Bill Daggett in Unforgiven in 1992. He was great in Westerns. Gosh, he was in The Firm. I mean, he's one of the best.
Enemy of the State. That was one that was very kind of off the wall that I loved him in Enemy of the State.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I'm looking at some of his TV credits as well. He was on more TV shows. No, I guess not. Mostly early in his career, he did some TV stuff, but nothing really that we would know from, it was all mostly in the 60s. Then he did a couple of things in the 2000s, but they were more narration or, that type of deal. All right. Like Gene Hackman, the chain gang is dead. No more chain gang in NFL football. We can get into this a little bit later on. There's some misunderstanding out there about this. They're going to electronically determine whether or not it's a first down or not, and the referee will get a notification in his ear as to whether it's a first down or not. But it's not going to be used to spot the ball, Joe. It's not going to be a scenario where, like in the game against the Bills and the Chiefs, where now they could determine that the ball had gotten across the line to gain. They're still going to spot the ball mechanically. All right. They're going to they're hand spotting the ball. Then after the ball is spotted by the official, then the electronic system is going to tell the referee whether or not it's a first down or not. So all they're eliminating is the chain gang. All right. The old dudes holding the chains. Now you're still going to have the box. I would imagine you'll have a post, where the players can see where the first down is to get. But what we really need is that electronic system to tell us where the ball is. You know what I mean? So that the guy that comes in like a drunken sailor from the sideline and grabs the ball and puts it down a half a yard, in front or behind the actual spot, isn't giving us a bad spot.
So they're not really giving us anything of benefit whatsoever that's going to help us.
Saving the chain guy coming out on the field right now.
That's good. That saves them on flight path, paying for the flights and for the chain gang and all of that. That's good.
Maybe a minute. I mean, how often do you even see it seemed like lately you didn't see a lot of measurements anymore anyway. So I didn't, it's almost as if somebody was telling them in their ear, because there were so many times it was like really close and they're like, first down, move the chains. I'm like, really? But
this is not the problem.
What we need to, right. What we need to get to is where the heck is the ball? To know where the ball is, not to have the school teacher that's 63 years old and 40 pounds overweight grabbing the ball, spotting the ball, and then they're going to tell us whether or not it was a first down or not.
So it basically doesn't fix a single thing of what is actually wrong with. Okay, cool. That's good.
Not really fixing anything.
No,
it's just, yeah. So that's it. And then on the goal line, you would think they can at least electronically give you a goal line, a laser or something that's going across the front edge of the goal line. So if the ball pierces the plane, we know that it's a touchdown. At least give us that. If you can't do it in the middle of the field, at least electronically tell us whether or not the ball broke the plane.
Oh, so they're doing that?
They're not.
Okay.
They can't do anything.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's going to help us out.
They eliminated the chain gang. That's what they did. That's all they did. Eliminated the guy that was making, how much do you make to hold the parabolic thing up there at the Titans game? Would you make like $50 or something like that? That's what they do. So those guys are getting like $80 to be the chain guy,
Oh, okay.
Whatever was the chain guy.
That's cool. Yeah. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
No, they didn't do
chain
crap.
guys might take your job. He might.
They're free now, so
they're available.
I'm assuming they're going to need one guy on each side to at least place where the first down is supposed to be, so that the laser can, you know what I'm saying. But
there'll be a box, so first down, second down, third down. There'll be a box guy, and then there'll be, the mark to gain, basically. But that's another thing. How is it that you have the chain on one side? And on the other side, you have just a marker and a guy, and that's an estimation, just so the guy can see. There's no chain on both sides, just a chain on one side. So how are they going to know? I don't think it's going to be something where they line up the two posts, because that would be how are you going to get exactly lined up? It's got to be GPS or something like that they're using.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a step. No, it's really not even a step. It's almost like look, this is what I'm going to do, but I'm really not going to do anything.
It might be a little bit of a step, because at least they're using an electronic chip in the ball now, and they're going to and apparently they did this all last year. They just didn't tell us they were doing it. They were doing it,
testing it out,
behind the scenes. And so now they're just going to do it. But again, just to clarify, they eliminated the chain gang, but the ball is still going to be spotted by the human eyeball and the human hand. And then after it's spotted, then they're going to determine if it was a first down.
Oh, good,
so
good.
That's not helping
enough.
Yeah, I don't like that. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, the mayor of Madison, Paul Finley, will join us. We'll talk to him about the situation. I don't want to say conflict. I don't know. Is it a conflict? There's a disagreement. We'll talk to him about the situation out at Toyota Field as well, and we'll do that next right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa Signature Card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
Grapefruit League Baseball today. Atlanta Braves laying $1.20 against the Nationals plus 100. NASCAR Cup Series, the Echo Park, Texas Grand Prix of the Circuit of the Americas in Austin. Shane Van Gisbergen, the 5-1 favorite. Connor Zillage, 6-1. Tyler Reddick, 7-1. William Byron, plus 750. College basketball last night. Auburn, 106-76 over Ole Miss, covering as 12.5-point favorites. Today, Liberty, a 6.5-point favorite over the Gamecocks of Jacksonville State, 133.5 the total. And UAB is a 1.5 underdog at the Wichita State Shockers. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware, but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan? the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the vice president of mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankofFrankEwing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank, as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 60s across the Tennessee Valley, dropping into the upper 30s, lower 40s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A sunny sky Friday afternoon, really going to be a fantastic end of the work week across the area. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s, dropping into the mid 40s as we head into the overnight. Saturday, not going to be bad, a little bit cooler across the Tennessee Valley. Otherwise, a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures climbing into the upper 50s and lower 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
I'm gonna tell you a story. I wanna tell you about my town. Tell you a big fat story, baby.
And welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. It is a Throwback Thursday in the Doghouse, so we are playing baseball-related music as selected by Joe Honk. Joe, who plays this after their win?
You should know this one. This is the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, yeah, no, I try to stay away from the Boston Red Sox as much as possible. They play this after their
they play this
Sweet
after
Caroline.
Sweet Caroline is what they play in between, I want to say,
Seventh
the
inning.
7th and 8th inning, if I remember correctly. But this is what they play when they win.
After the 7th inning. Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully we won't hear a lot of that this year. That's just a personal take by me. All right, we've been following this story out at the ballpark, and I know when it comes to things like this, a lot of our eyes just glass over it because we don't understand all this financial stuff that's going on, and the first thing everybody worries about is, oh, my God, we're going to lose our team, and we're going to have an empty stadium out there. I don't think that's the case after we had talked to folks from the team a couple of weeks ago. But now another story has popped here as far as the city of Madison and what their responsibility is in this deal. And I thought, you know what? See if I can reach out to Mayor Paul Finley of the city of Madison. And I'll be honest with you, much to my surprise, he answered me like immediately. I emailed him and he answered immediately. He said, sure, I'll come on the show. I mean, I literally emailed him a couple of hours ago, and he responded immediately and agreed to come on the show. I really appreciate that. Mr. Mayor, welcome to the show. By the way, he's on the Neighbors Wealth Management hotline. Mr. Mayor, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, and I appreciate you having me.
Well, no, I appreciate you coming on to talk about this situation. And a couple of things. First of all, I know a question I've had and a lot of the fans have had. When the stadium was built 5 years ago, right? First 4 years ago or so. When did it become aware, or when did the powers that be become aware that these changes were coming in baseball? Is this something that could have been done within the original construction that was going on, and would have been done at a much lower cost if it was incorporated in the original construction of the building? Or is this something that literally dropped, when the last bit of paint went down on that place?
Well, it did not literally drop then. It dropped when Major League Baseball purchased Minor League Baseball. And that happened, 2.5, 3 years ago. And what they then did is start an audit of all the existing facilities and gave requirements as far as each of the things that needed to be done, from batting cage height to visitor and home clubhouse size, field all the things that go along with it. As you remember, Major League Baseball or Minor League Baseball went from 160 teams down to 120. And
right.
So a lot of that was because people were just never going to be compliant. So in our case, we learned about it probably about a year after Major League Baseball had come through and done their audit, and they came back and they just said, you are non-compliant in the 2 areas, visitor clubhouse, and then facilities for female umpires and coaches. And so that's where it came from. We never would have known that was the case until they actually did the audit.
All right. So it wasn't like somebody dropped the ball during construction. All right. This is something that came after the fact. Would that be a fair statement then?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. That's good to know. The next thing is here, I understand with the umpires and female staff, I'm trying to think of, and I guess the plan is to utilize the existing visiting clubhouse to turn that into an area for umpires / female staff. How much female staff is there? I mean, did anybody, kind of looked at that? How often is there a female umpire or a female coach, if you will, for a visiting team? It doesn't seem like that would be something that would get overly utilized.
I wish I could use that logic to say, hey, wait a minute, I don't see any, do we still have to do it? They didn't give us that option of whether there are or there aren't. They're looking ahead and knowing that there most likely will be. And they just want to make sure that they're in a position, I guess, to be successful when that happens. So we don't know of any, but I don't think that quite makes a difference to them as far as, hey, this is what the parameters that we put in place and what we'd like you to be compliant with.
Right. Mayor Paul Finley with us from the city of Madison talking about the renovations that are needed out at Toyota Field. So now it comes down to the point where does everybody agree that it is the responsibility, according to the lease, it's the responsibility of the city to get the ballpark compliant? I mean, the problem here is, and we'll get to the different plans, the problem is what is compliant and what makes sense in terms of what the team thinks and what you guys think, you should be footing the bill for. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. I think everybody is in full agreement that it is the city's responsibility to make sure that that facility is compliant and that we will have it compliant. And then again, it goes back to, as you were saying, you have options, and we've been blessed to have options. And as we've worked through this, I think we're down to 2 now, and we'll continue through this process until we get to 1 and then do it and then make sure that we're compliant, because the last thing we want to do is lose our Rocket City Trash Pandas in any form or fashion.
So in the 2 that you are down to is basically the renovation of the existing, equipment shed area, if you will, which is the one that's been estimated. The number that's been thrown out there is this $4 million. And then the second being demolishing that building, building a new 1-story building along left field. That's about $7 million or so. You're getting bids on that. And that would accommodate both, I would imagine, equipment and this new clubhouse for the visiting team. Now the team feels, and there is this makes some sense, that this structure, this 4-story, $30 million structure that would include a restaurant and better seating and more suites and all of those types of things, which would really enhance things out there, would also be a source of revenue, for the city, and that they would be contributing to, pay off that building, the bonds for that building, and so on. Why is it that you and the council, the majority of council, now feel like that's not a viable plan?
So first, let me start by saying that the Trash Pandas have been an incredible teammate, and we still consider them an incredible teammate. The fact that, we have a $3.1 million bond payment for what's existing, and between the Trash Panda payments and the lodging tax, we're generating about $3.6 million right now. The good news is we have additional money for the maintenance requirements, the utilities, and so forth. So let's start with they're a great partner. Then you go to, and what's the best utilization of that money? And you are correct. The 4-story building brought revenue, but it also cost a lot more. As I was, in listening to your city, they don't always know, as you said, they don't always know what's going on. But I think most of them said, hey, we're thrilled with the stadium, the Trash Pandas, but if you're going to spend money, please help me get through this city more efficiently and more effectively from a traffic standpoint. So as we looked at options and taken a lot of the growth that's going to happen out of lodging tax and the Trash Panda payments, I think it was just initially, and then coming up with some balance of who's responsible for what. In the end, we just feel it's better right now not to take the top, the third option, the big enchilada, and work towards something that is more palpable right now, but still make sure that we're compliant as quickly as we can be.
So getting compliant is important. It does seem like that structure, and I don't know if we're looking 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the line. It seems like that would be a source of revenue, though, for the city, right? I mean, it seems like that would be some sort of value in that, but obviously it's a big upfront expenditure, right?
Well, you're exactly right, and it would be part of the complexity of this is as the Trash Panda team is looking to restructure how we do things, they're looking to minimize their payment also as far as what they pay, maximize profit. In a lot of instances, the way that would occur is the lodging tax increase, and I think a majority of this council, as they looked at the overall structure, said, hey, while we can't generate revenue, if we change the way that the ratios go, we're using all the increase in one thing. So yes, we can pay for it, which is a great, we had options for 3, but in the end, we feel like, or at least I think a majority right now feels like it's better to make sure we at least get compliant, whether we decide to do it in left field or the maintenance area, and then in turn, look at the next step. While also, again, in the city of Madison, we better have some more lanes, some more roundabouts, some more road structure, and that's critical also.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly so much went on, around that whole Thom Madison area. Now you got the new ramps that are opening up, and access and egress to the stadium and to the area is just, it just continues to grow, which is really a good thing. But at the end of the day, it sounds like it's up to the city to make this decision. I mean, you guys are going to decide, look, this is what we're doing. Trash Pandas, we're meeting our obligation. You guys want to do whatever you want to do outside of that, that's fine. But this is what we're going to do, whether it's the $4 million option or the $7 million option. And we're putting those numbers on it. We don't know what these bids are going to come at. I mean, I suppose that these are estimates that somebody has worked up, but one or the other. And you guys, I wouldn't imagine, you're not necessarily looking at the cheapest scenario. You're looking at what the best value is, whether it's the one-story building or the renovation of the existing building.
That's one thing, and 2 things that would go with that. First, what's in the left field situation? You're also, you're adding value by moving the goal, moving the fence where you can, have a goalpost move back, where you can have football and soccer and those kind of things. But I think the other part that we have is we will be compliant, but just because we're not, and I say we're at this point not the 4 stories out of the picture. We have a meeting tomorrow. We have a phone conversation, John Seaford, City Council President, myself, with Ball Corps, because we're going to look at the overall structure of how things are set up right now and see if there's something that we as a city can do to help them accomplish some of what they want, make more revenue, within still the same structure that we have. Example, right now, non-baseball events, we split 50-50. Parking, we split 50-50 of the net. There's different ways that we can help them and help ourselves at the same time. And so we're absolutely not done with just take it or leave it. They've been incredible partners, and we want them to continue to be successful, and we will work towards that as long as we possibly can to find some mutual benefit that helps both of us.
All right, that's outstanding. All right, so then to term this a conflict between the city and the ownership and the team would be incorrect. I mean, you're trying to work through something that makes sense, but this is not like you're at each other's throats. Not yet, at least.
100% agree with it. No, we're not. But I will say this. I think in the Trash Panda team is probably disappointed in the initial decision here. Because again, that was a not only a revenue structure that would have helped the city, obviously it would have helped them enormously. With that said, going back to, they've also been, really, really good at what they do. The perfect example, the Rocket City softball, showcase that we just had, holy cow. I mean, and so if you can take that and then build off of that and continue to bring monster non-baseball events in, we as a city want to see, incentivize them to continue to do that. And that's where I think we have an option now to look and work with them on the best way to get there. So no, there's no way that we're, at odds. I think I guarantee you they disagree with the overall decision because it was better for them. But in the end, we're going to find something that continues to keep the Toyota Field and the Trash Panda successful.
Yeah, Mayor Finley with us here. All right, finally, you mentioned something in the last question that I have not seen in any story. Would the $7 million project, if you will, the demolition and construction of the new one-story building out there along left field, is part of that project to move the left field fence back so that we can fit a proper football field in there? You said soccer, got one of those downtown. We don't need that, but it'd be great to be able and to have revenue from a properly played football game down there as well. So is that part of the plan that either, I guess if the left field fence goes back, they can move home plate up and still have room now for a football field if they want to keep the dimensions the same. But what is that part of this whole thing?
Yeah, and if I could speak on both of them, let's just call option one, option two. We actually are looking to do that in both of those options.
Okay.
The second one, the one with the one story, the $7 million, that would immediately happen, and that's just part of the overall project. In option one, where we're doing the maintenance side and then rebuilding the maintenance shed, we would put basically with a subsidiary bid piece on it where, hey, this is the core, and then for option one, not so much option one, additional piece to move the fences, how much would that cost us? So we're looking at doing that in both of these options. Option two has it included guaranteed.
All right. Well, Mayor, I appreciate you taking the time to help us through this thing. It's one of those things that we as fans sometimes don't understand all the intricacies to it, and it sounds like there's a lot of other things that are working here in this deal, and I'm very, very hopeful that between you and the team, you guys will come up with the best scenario for the community.
I'm with you 100%. I really appreciate you reaching out. You just happened to catch me. I just sat down at my desk and I saw you pop up. I'm like, yes, I'd like to talk about it because the community's kind of trying to turn it into a negative of us against them. It's absolutely not that. It's all of us together continuing to try to bring a great product to this community. And I'm really excited about what we've done, and I know we're going to get there together going forward.
Well, it's great stuff, and again, I appreciate you taking my call as well, and we'll keep the line of communication going once this thing gets all determined, and we wish you the best with it.
Hey, sure, appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of the day.
All right, thank you, you too. So, Joe, if you read between the lines there, what he was saying is that when he saw my email come across his desk, he recognized it. I'm kind of a thing around here, you know what I mean? And he probably needed to talk to the big dog.
Actually, just sounds like he wasn't checking any of his fantasy teams, so he was kind of free.
Yeah, no, I think he was. I think what he just subtly said was, "Oh my gosh, Thom Abraham wants to talk to me, and I think I need to talk to him." And an opportunity. I mean, yeah, he's the mayor. He's the mayor. But I mean, an opportunity to be a guest on the Thom Abraham show, you jump all over that, right? That's just a no-brainer. All right, so dimensions right now, 326 down the line in left and right. That's steep. It's not crazy. Of course, I'm a Yankee fan, so I like 310. But 326 it's fairly typical. It's not too bad. Left center field, Joe, is 385, and dead center is 400. And this is a symmetrical. It's 375 at right center, and right field is 326. And they can't move right field because you got the inline porch there where I broadcast from with the daytime education day games and things like that. And you can't back up anymore there. That would take too much to do. But there's really nothing behind the left field fence that would prevent them from backing that up a little bit there. The question is, I wonder how many feet they need. Have you seen, Joe, the configuration when they play a football game there? When they play a football game there, like UNA has played there, again, Jack State and all that stuff. When they play a football game there, they have an end zone, a full proper end zone at one end and a goalpost at one end, and then they got to flip every time the team gets down at the other end. They got to flip to the other end to kick that field goal extra point because they can only fit the full end zone in at one end. It's kind of goofy. It apparently was not considered when they originally built the stadium that they would play football games there. So I wonder how far out they would have to take it. And if they did that, what that would change the dimensions. In other words, would they move home plate out a little bit? It's nice and it's kind of cozy now, you know what I mean, between the the box seats and home plate. I'd hate to see home plate get moved out too far. I guess they did move it out for the softball thing.
Yeah, they totally redid the entire field for the softball.
Yeah, but I would think they were going to bring it back. Obviously they're going to bring it back to its original spot for baseball. But I mean, if they needed 20 feet, which is only 9 yards, right? 8 yards. If they needed 20 feet, I mean, that would make it 326 down the line, 405 in left center. That's too much. I mean, you can't do that.
385 right now may be too much.
385 is left center, not left, not the line.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's a poke. That's a poke.
Yeah, that's not an easy shot. That is definitely not an easy shot. And trust me, the Angels need all the help they can get with stacking numbers.
And it's why Yankee Stadium originally, the original configuration of Yankee Stadium when the football, when the New York Giants played there and stuff, but the original Yankee Stadium in left center field, this is a true story. Dead center was 440 and left center was 475.
Yeah.
Monument Park used to be inside the fence because it was nobody ever hit home. To hit a home run over left center field was ridiculous. But they extended that like that so they could fit a football field in there where the Giants, the New York Football Giants, would play when they were playing there, and it was a goofy configuration. A pitcher's park for sure. That's 475 down in the left center. We'll call that a pitcher's park.
Whew. Yeah,
Coors Field is 345 down the lines, and that's because of the thin air in Denver, right? So they're 345 down the lines. But what that does, use your geometry, right? If you go 345 down the lines, your outfield becomes ginormous. Even if you're only 420 to center field, 410, 420, whatever they are to center field, your outfield just gets bigger and bigger the further you go down the lines. So
yeah, definitely not a fan of that.
So they want to be able to play. And the thing is, you say, well, what about Joe Davis? And I say, I love Joe Davis for football. I think Joe Davis for high school football is amazing. There's some talk about some college football being played there. We know that JP2 is going to play there. Catholic, if you want to call them that, they're going to be playing their home games there now. Some of them might be on Thursday nights, some will be on Friday nights. But it's wonderful. But it's 5,500, 6,000 for football. Whereas I think out at Toyota Field, if you're putting UNA and Jack State in there or something like that, they have 7,500 proper, and then they put a grandstand. You could put 10,000 in there for a game, so it's a bigger facility that way. But, I don't know about that. They got to back that left field up a little bit. They got to figure it out. So if you back up left field, but then move the plate out, you know what I mean, Joe? So you maintain, but now you're going to get the plate another 10, 15, 20 feet away from the backstop.
Well, and then if you do that, then you're going to want to move the backstop up, which is going to give you something that you can put the seating when it comes to the way that it is designed right now. It's do you
move the backstop, or do you just have that much more foul territory behind the plate?
No, you move the backstop. Yeah,
it's pretty cozy now. But yeah, but you're right. You could add field level seats.
What you could do is, like right now, whenever you're watching a Trash Pandas game, you watch it and it looks like the person sitting in the front row is basically just sitting on the field. Like that's kind of the way the seats are now. You move it up, you could even kind of get like another row or two where the seats are like, your head level is looking right onto the field.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, or you could even do some sort of a suite party seating area.
Yeah. That's a good point. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, phone lines go open 256-576-4977. Get you into the show. 256-576-4977. It's the Thom Abraham Show. More in a moment.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Conference USA is bringing its premier basketball event back to the Rocket City. Don't miss the 2025 Conference USA Basketball Championships March 11th through the 15th at the VBC Probst Arena, featuring 20 men's and women's basketball teams playing 18 games with CUSA titles and NCAA automatic bids on the line. Find out who's going to be putting on their dancing shoes. Tickets as low as $40. Visit Ticketmaster.com today to experience Conference USA Hoops in the Rocket City, March 11th through 15th.
Been thinking about what kind of truck you need to pull that big boat or shiny Airstream Classic? I'd like to invite you to feel the torque of an F-150 Power Boost Hybrid. It combines the forces of gas and electric power for over 11,000 pounds of towing muscle. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, where you can test drive over 200 new F-150s. And you can save up to $13,500 off MSRP on a 24 XLT 4x4 with the Power Boost engine. Save over $13,000 on F-150 today. On your way to a growing family or already have one? Then a Woody Anderson Ford Expedition is your ticket to ride. Save up to $12,000 off MSRP on a 24 Expedition at Woody Anderson Ford. $12,000 off Expedition. And there's more too. Get up to $8,000 off MSRP on the Agile and Sporty Escape ST line. And with a versatile 2024 Edge, you're looking at up to $10,000 off MSRP only at Woody Anderson Ford. Bring on the savings. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer again. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is extremely proud to have recently received numerous awards, including being voted best wings in the state of Alabama. Other awards received include Best All-Around Restaurant, Best American Restaurant, #1 Sports Bar, Best Chef, Best Wings, and Best Dining Experience. Thank you for 43 legendary years, and we look forward to providing you an award-winning dining experience at every visit. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
That's what I'm talking about.
Start spreading the news.
Do I need to explain this one?
Hear this about
today.
70 times this year would be good.
It's not in October.
To be part of it. New York, New York.
There you go.
Vagabond shoes.
Yeah, they're gonna play. They're gonna play this just after wins now. They're gonna play. They're gonna play That's Life. It's just a pretty apropos one.
And that's why it's like you're saying it like it's the shaving policy getting changed, and I'm like,
yeah,
this just makes sense. Why was this a thing in the first place?
I don't know if we can handle all this change.
And I didn't know, because I've been to like 4 Yankee games at Yankee Stadium, and every single game that I've went to, they've won. So I've always heard it. So I never knew that they played it after a loss.
Have you been to the new stadium?
No, I went to the last Yankee game that I went to was 2008. It was Red Sox Yankees, and it was right before the All-Star game in 2008.
Yeah. So it's the year before the stadium that Jeter built. So yeah, I have been in Yankee Stadium for 5 games in my life. 3 World Series games in 19 and 78. That's not the Reggie Jackson year. That is the hip out year to at first base. That's the Lou Piniella year when he had the walk up. The only home run I saw hit in those 3 games in New York and that World Series between the Dodgers and the Yankees in '78, which the Yankees won all 3. They dropped the 2 in Los Angeles. Then they went back to New York and they won 3 straight, and then went to LA and won the final. The home run I saw was hit by Reggie, but it was Reggie Smith of the Dodgers.
Yeah, different Reggie.
Hit that home run. Yeah, it was a different Reggie that hit that home run. And then in the 90s, early 90s, when I was working with the New York Jets a couple of times I would go to Hempstead, Hofstra. We'd go to Hofstra where the Jets would train, and I would work with the New York Jets for 3 or 4 days at a time in their OTAs and sometimes before camp, work on breaking down film and things like that. So we would at night, that would be, we'd be out there in April, May, and then at night we'd run into the city and go see the Yankees play. So I went to, and get this, Joe, I went to a Yankees Red Sox game. This is hilarious. Go to a Yankees Red Sox game. The Yankees score like 5 runs in the first 2 innings, and they're up 5-0 by the time me and the other coaches get to the stadium. We get in the stadium. While we're in the stadium, we get in the stadium in like the 3rd inning. The Red Sox score 9 runs in the next like 6 innings, 5 or 6 innings. And now the Red Sox are up 9-5. We're like, let's get the hell out of here. And we leave. And then when we leave, the Yankees score 5 more runs and win the game like 10-9. So we missed all 10 runs that the Yankees scored, and we saw only the 9 runs that the Red Sox scored.
You know how much skill it takes to do that? I mean, how much skill it takes to literally miss everything good.
I mean, yeah, that was really tough. Now, and in the 70s, when I was a kid and when I was a freshman in college in 1978, and Joe Altobelli gave my dad the tickets, and we went. Yeah, that was when you had to shoot. That's Bronx Zoo time. That was before the Bronx itself was. They renovated all the area around the stadium and all of that kind of stuff. And that was when you had to, basically shoot your way in and shoot your way out of the stadium. I mean, it's something you got to do there. So on that story, the phone lines are open now. If you want to get in, 256-576-4977. On that story with the Trash Pandas, I did reach out to Lindsay Knupp. Now we're one of the few organizations in baseball that have a high-ranking woman in the organization. She's the executive vice president of the Trash Pandas, Lindsay Knupp. And so I reached out to her and I said, because Joe, how do you ask this question delicately? But part of this whole renovation is more room for the umpires room and female staff. And it's not like Lindsay Knupp, they got their thing upstairs. They got a bunch of women that work in the organization, not them. It's female field staff. So I delicately asked, I'm like, how often is and I asked the mayor and he kind of chuckled. How often is there a female umpire? I've never been to a Trash Panda game where there was a female umpire working. And how often is there a female coach or member of staff? So I asked Lindsay, and she says, from what I hear, there is one in our league this year, a female manager. There's going to be a female manager in the Southern League. Joe, research that. There's a female manager in the Southern League this year. And she says, we also have a number of trainers who are females, and it's only going to increase over the years, I'm sure. So she's right about that. I didn't think about training staff. So there you go. The training staff, you got a room for them, certainly. But there's going to be a female manager. And so you know how it is in the clubhouse. You got the visiting clubhouse and you got the manager's office. So does the manager's office have locker facility right in it? So like when this team comes in who has this female manager and the clubhouse for the visiting team is out in left field while the home team clubhouse is, underneath the stadium, will she have a facility out there to use? Will there be the other coaches be in the locker room and then there's the manager's office because that's a whole new problem. If you have female staff, and you're talking about having female trainers, they have to be out there with the team. So is this women's locker room going to be out there? These are questions that I have. Joe, do you know who in the Southern League has a female manager?
Well, and I'm going through it right now, and now I'm assuming that when she said a female manager, it may actually
Maybe
be
a
like
general manager,
like assistant coach or something, because at least the names that I'm looking right now doesn't have it. I know that the Marlins named somebody. It was, I can't remember who it was, that they named somebody that was like over their scouting or something like that. So I'm trying to see if this is what it is. But it is no, I can't find it right now.
Now, I want to say this too. I want to be on record. I understand where the city of Madison is coming from. I get that. I want that 4-story building. I want that 4-story building. I want these people to figure out how to get it done, because to me, with the growth that is going on in Huntsville, and I get we're talking about Madison here, but if you rake to left field far enough, you can actually hit it into Huntsville. I mean, it's that close to Huntsville. But Huntsville itself is the biggest city now in the state of Alabama, bigger than Birmingham, Huntsville proper. Now, Birmingham and vicinity are bigger because Hoover is bigger than Madison. Hoover. I think Hoover has almost 100,000 people. Hoover, Birmingham has 180,000, 190,000. Huntsville has 200,000. I think Hoover has 100,000. And in my head, Madison has about 60,000, 50, 60,000. I'm not sure exactly how many. But having said that, the way that the area is growing, that building in left field, if it were a 4-story building with the locker room facilities, clubhouse facilities on the first level, and then having additional left field home run suites and then a restaurant, look, you can't tell me that's not a good idea. You cannot tell me that building is not a good idea. I don't know how they're going to pay for it. I don't know who's going to pay for it. I don't know how they're going to make it happen. But, Joe, I want that building, and I want to do remotes from that building. And as you know, Joe, I'm only doing my show for another 3 years. I've already turned in my papers. I'm retiring in February of 2028.
Yeah, we by the way, you haven't been consulted on this, but what we also had is the moment that you turn the mics off, we're also going to be doing a yard sale with all your stuff so that you can't turn your back on that and walk back into the room. Just letting you know.
I'll still be doing others.
No. We're selling it all. Everything must go.
Just not doing.
It's like Office
live
Depot
stuff
on the Parkway. Everything must go.
It was a reasonable question, and I asked that question too about the women's facilities, because as people know by now, we have a new facility, we have a new building that our parent company owns now on North Memorial Parkway. We have a tenant on the first floor, and the second floor is split between our 2 radio stations and Neighbors Wealth Management. Okay, so we have a new facility, and it's beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. We're blessed. Joe, we're blessed. I know you're still working amongst wires on the floor and stuff like that, but Joe, that this is going to be fantastic. As when it's all completed and it's done, we're very lucky. We have a great facility.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Our facility has a men's room and a women's room next to the kitchen, okay? The men's room and the women's room are exactly the same size, and they're large bathrooms. All right, I'm just going to say they're pretty large bathrooms, okay? Between the radio station and wealth management, we have exactly one woman in the building. We got one. At any given point in time, if you go to where the bathrooms are in our facility, there'll be like 3 guys lined up waiting at the door for Joe to get out of the bathroom. And there's over there the empty women's room for the one woman that we got in the entire 2 companies, 2 radio stations in the company. It's a true story, Joe. You know what I mean? It's a true story. She's got her own bathroom, basically. And the rest of us are all fighting over getting into the other bathroom. Stop me from lying, Joe.
No, I'm still trying to find the woman Southern League coach. By the way, the only manager in minor league baseball that is female is actually doing it for the Yankees.
Where is she at?
She's in low A ball.
Low A?
Yep. She's in
So
low.
So it's not a manager. It's not a field manager.
Well, that's what I'm trying to
probably.
figure out if I'm missing something.
This would be a big story. I mean, if you just Google female manager AA Southern League, it would pop up immediately.
Yeah, no, I've done that. No, it's Rachel Balkovic. She's the manager for the Yankees low A.
Yeah,
baseball.
And I know
team.
that story.
And that was a big story when it happened.
That was a huge story when that happened. Yeah, I know that story. All right, a couple other things just to get off my desk here. The launch of College Football 25, Joe, had a bigger impact than anyone predicted, according to the folks at EA Sports. Industry tracker, Circana. They report on these things. They reported that College Football 25 became the best-selling sports video game of all time. Of all time. In terms of total dollars. Joe, you're telling me that College Football 25 outsold Madden?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of all time.
And it's a better game than Madden. As far as everything you can do in the game, it's much better than Madden. But Madden, I will say, and I didn't play it anywhere close to what I have played it in the past because I used to be doing, video game streams for the Titans and all that. So I lived the Madden life. But it still looks amazing and beautiful. It's just that the college football game gave us everything that we've always wanted from a college football game.
It's the same people, though, isn't it?
Well,
Isn't
it's a different department, and so the way that I always say it is Madden is always, or I should say college football is always last year's Madden. It's almost very similar to the graphics you get in this college football game will be the graphics that you had in last year's Madden game.
Well,
and again, we also didn't have the game for over a
for
decade.
11 years.
Yeah,
right. So I think that's part of why College Football 20, because if you have Madden, you don't necessarily buy Madden every single year. You know what I mean? You can keep your Madden. You can upgrade. Yeah, but can't you upgrade it? Online.
There are people. There are people that can. They put the rosters in for the new years and all that sort of stuff. Yes, you can. If you didn't want to buy another Madden, you absolutely wouldn't have to. You could download a roster that would be the new roster, and people had already created all the rookies and made all the roster moves.
So College Football 25, biggest best-selling sports video game of all time. Do you know what it surpassed? What do you think it surpassed as the high? What before College Football 25? What do you think was the number one highest-selling video game of all time?
Probably Call of Duty.
No, that's not sports. Sports video game.
Some people.
NBA 2K21.
I believe that's the Jordan one. I believe that was the first one that Jordan was on, if I remember correctly.
NBA 2K21. No, if it's 2K21.
No,
I would think
for the longest time, Jordan did not give his likeness to 2K. Very similar to Barry Bonds. He doesn't give his likeness to – he's not a part of the MLBPA. So his likeness isn't in the new baseball game.
Quote, it outperformed all of our expectations, EA Sports Senior Vice President Daryl Holt said. It's become part of the cultural landscape of college football this year. It was exciting and fun and amazing to see. The title became the belle of the ball within EA. Well, Joe, you got to get your College Football 26 now.
Oh, absolutely.
That's going to do it for us. Football Friday tomorrow. Paul Feinbaum next. Have a great day, everybody.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. No surgery for former Penn State standout pass rusher Abdul Carter. His agent Drew Rosenhaus told ESPN's Adam Schefter that following